everyone, welcome to Lounging with Leonie. Welcome to the lounge. Today I am joined by Big Brother once again, and the topic of conversation shall be burning out, because that's how I feel right now. A little bit burnt out. Hi Big Brother, how are you today?
A little bit burnt out.
A little bit burnt out. Is that the name of the episode?
Potentially. I mean, yeah, it's burning out.
Burning out. It's burning out.
So why are you burning out? Why are you a little bit burnt out?
Life has just been incredibly hectic lately. Like this whole month has been crazy.
Because you've got a lot of things to do?
I've got a lot of things to do. Work has been busy. My 9 to 5 has been really busy. I got promoted, and with that comes a lot more responsibilities.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But also wow. A lot of imposter syndrome is coming along with that, but we'll get to that later. So work's been busy. Projects outside of work has been busy. It's after I finish work, I'm pretty much just editing podcast things or planning all my other projects.
I think that's a good sign because, you're taking the opportunity in your life to capitalize on doing things that you feel like adds value to you. So that's good, especially now you still don't have much responsibilities.
Yeah. And then, along with all my projects, it's trying to still keep up with all my other hobbies like rock climbing and dancing and boxing.
So really, you're doing it while you can.
Yeah. And then also trying to maintain my dating relationship life. I don't know how people do it. How do you do it?
You kind of streamline what's priority, what's important. Eventually, time changes, you changes, what's value to you at that moment,
Yeah.
And it makes you appreciate the time that you have.
But this is the thing, right? I wish that I could be really good at everything, but obviously I can't focus, put 100% focus on everything at the same time. So for example, this month, it's I've been focusing on my 9 to 5 job, and also my podcast stuff. But then a lot of my fitness stuff, rock climbing and everything have kind of fallen by the wayside.
Yeah, so you really got to look at prioritizing. If I'd say you're gonna take out 3 hours additional out of your days, what things are you willing to sacrifice?
For the last 2 weeks, I sacrificed my dance classes.
It's kind of like a kid in the candy store. You want to eat every single lollies.
Yeah.
But the reality is you can only look at pragmatically what you can eat.
Yeah. I guess it's just there's so much you want to do, and the thing that is really just stopping it is time and brain capacity.
No, I think it reflects your personality. You and I are very similar, that we are intellectually greedy.
There's no intellect in this brain of mine. I think I like to just do things because if I don't do them, then
You feel like you're going to miss out.
I'm going to miss out. But also, I feel the most anxiety or uncomfortable when I'm not doing things, if that makes sense. If I'm not doing something, my mind will start thinking about life.
Well, I think that's precisely where you see yourself accelerating a bit more, after a couple of years of you adapting to this regimented, overachiever things. But it's important to sort of take time to reflect, which you have. You take time to go on your own.
Yeah.
Lonely stay or Airbnb, things like that to help you reposition your compass.
Yeah. I mean, I think the good thing is that it's not I've missed any deadlines or anything. With this whole podcast thing, I have been I am going to release an episode every 2 weeks. And there have been times when it's really come to the crunch time and it's I have no guests, or I haven't finished editing the podcast, but I've managed to finish it before the deadline I've set myself.
The question is do you feel fulfilled by doing it? Or more of a burden? You see what I mean?
I think it's a mix of both, It depends. If I'm rushing it, and I'm trying to find guests or whatever, like my final product might not be to the standard that I want it to be. So I'm not like 100% satisfied with it. But at the same time, I'm also satisfied that, I've done it. I've released it. I've stuck to my commitment.
So the question is, do you feel an overwhelmed sense of achievement once you finish it?
It depends on the episode.
And the guest.
And the guest. So, for example, like... are we
going to name terrible guests?
No, I'm not going to name terrible guests, but I'm going to name like episodes which have been very hard for me to get done and edit and everything. So, like, I think it was the second podcast that I did with Rachel. Obviously, it's harder when my guest is overseas, and obviously, they're on webcam. You don't know what the quality will be like. And that's things like outside of the studio that we can't control. And that was a bitch to edit. The topic of conversation I really enjoyed, but in terms of like editing it and getting it done, it was such a bitch.
Well, you're pragmatic about it, so you kind of see it for what it is as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, it is what it is. We'll make the most of it, make the best of it.
Yeah, and I think that's the format of podcasts is you can choose to release it or not to release it, or just release it as it is,
Yeah. I don't think there will ever be a time when I choose not to release something unless it's like the file's corrupted.
Knock on wood.
Ah!
Quick, because you do need a new hard drive to back up all your files.
Okay, yeah, I know. But yeah, it has been an intense month. Yeah, trying to figure out how to manage my time better and also manage my energy levels.
So obviously now you want to talk about feeling a little bit burned out. And what's that feeling like?
The feeling is like I'm constantly tired or constantly thinking about the next thing that I have to do on my to-do list, if that makes sense. Like I feel like there is no break time. Like I have to constantly be productive to meet all my deadlines, and it's just like all I want to do sometimes is switch off and have a nap. That's what it feels like.
What if you recenter yourself and readjust priorities, and then maybe have to delete some of them, and then that way you can get more clarity on individual tasks or projects?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So for example, my focus this month has been on my actual job, because that is always going to be...
Are you telling me you never worked?
No. That's not what I'm saying. Like that is always my number one priority, but like sometimes obviously there's ebbs and flows. Sometimes it's like really high intense pressure and busy, and then other times it's like there's not much to do, so I have a bit more time to just chill and relax and not rush towards completing something.
Yeah, obviously you have more things to deliver.
Yeah.
Than other times. Yeah.
Yeah. So that has been my focus, and obviously I want to live up to the promotion that I have been given. And then a part of me has also been like, is it possible to, like, how do people like Elon Musk do it? They have so many damn companies and projects. How do they like...
I think everybody's built differently.
Yeah.
And they have a different value proposition for their life. So example is doing this boxing class. Does it have value proposition for you? Why are you doing it?
Yeah. So like, for example, boxing is more, for me, it's more of like it's time to release and not think about work, if that makes sense. And
that's also rock climbing.
That's also rock climbing. But
that's also hanging out with your friends and partners.
I mean, like, they both give me different, like, rock climbing is more like, muscle building. And then boxing is more like cardio. I mean, I schedule it into my week. If you look at my Google Calendar right now, it's just like a mess because I just schedule everything in. And I feel like, in a way, looking at my schedule, I love making to-do lists, and I like organizing my time and time management. But sometimes when I put too much into like the next 2-3 weeks, looking at it, it's like,
But I'm a firm believer. It's better to over plan it than not planning it.
Yeah. I mean, that's just the way we work, though, I guess.
Well, especially with the multitudes of projects you want to work on, you have to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to keep everything in your head, and eventually your burnout is going to be a explosion rather than a burnout.
True.
In saying that, it is a tough time through the world, and you reflecting on your career path and you're doing well. Obviously, cost of living and everything is impacted because there are people out there not potentially not getting a pay rise, paying 20% more for travel. You're in a very lucky position that where you
really
can
am.
still work from home,
Yeah.
which means you save hundreds of dollars on, public transport, cars. So that's why it doesn't impact you as much, because when you do want to go out, you're like, an extra $10 to my fuel. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. I know. I have been reflecting on that a lot and thinking about, like, to be honest, like, my life is pretty good right now. Like, I feel like I am, like, all aspects of my life are great. Like, work's great, my hobbies are great, family's good, relationships are good, friendships are good. I don't have to worry about, like, financial pressures or anything.
So maybe that's the method to deal with burnout. It's reviewing sort of gratitude towards what you have, taking a step back and practicing that gratitude process helps you reduce your burnout fear, your anxiety, because you go, okay, what have I achieved? Well, I've done quite well, by reflecting that and giving thanks to people. I think that's really important. And I think maybe that's one of the technique that we need to look at and go, I'm so grateful that I have amazing people that I work with, have the opportunity to do what I do, and then that will make you feel less burnt out, because then there's a higher sense of purpose.
No, I definitely agree that I would like to practice gratitude a lot more, especially because I know that if I do reach the point of, like, I don't think I've reached the point of burnout yet, but I can see myself heading towards that trajectory. And I know that if I do reach that point where I am burnt out, I will feel really bad about myself for not being able to keep up with everything. But I think, you're right, practicing gratitude for all the good things that have been going on in my life is a good thing to do.
I think it'd be interesting to put you under real pressure, though.
Like financial pressure?
Everything. Financial, family, the question is how do you feel like you're able to deal with it now versus, 5 years ago?
I mean, 5 years ago, I don't think I would have been able to deal with it.
I think that's true too, because now you've actually discovered, sort of tools to help you manage these things.
Yeah.
And then building a good network of friends and, people around you.
Yeah.
I think those are critical things for everybody that they need in their life. Yeah, where before you're very much in your own mind, in your own head. So when little things just explode, becomes such a big issue.
Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes it still does. Like, if I am put under a bit of pressure, I can feel myself, like, becoming agitated really easily.
I can concur.
I apologize.
She does get agitated.
Yeah. Yeah, but it also, like, it depends, obviously, how much is on my plate and what I'm stressed about in that day.
Maybe we should talk about your agitation.
My agitation?
Yeah, like, is there things you could do without going to that lane in your mental space, and then once you're in that lane, that river's going to flow and you really can't hold back? You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. But also, like, I don't think it's healthy to hold back either. But maybe the difference is learning how to communicate that better to my loved ones so that they don't get a sudden shock of my agitation.
I mean, like, everybody deals with it differently. There's some people just disappear and become quiet. Some people like to talk through it.
I become very passive aggressive.
Oh, 100%. I mean, that's quite common, but it's more so like, how do you channel that energy into something more effective?
Yeah.
Rather than destructive.
Yeah. I think I've gotten a lot better, though.
Well, just think of this right now. You're a stock market. Your stock's going up really high. But then one day, there might be a crash. What do? You know what I mean?
Well, that's kind of, I mean, I don't have that much money in the stock market at the moment. And I'm watching it crash, and I'm just like, eh.
Yeah, but imagine that's all your money for the apartment, and it's crashing. Now you can't afford it.
But this is the thing. I don't think I would ever put that much money into it.
Fair enough.
Because you know, that's not me. I mean, unless it's like a Tinder love interest that convinces me.
That's for another topic.
That is for another topic.
And the scar is still deep. Even though it wasn't mine, but I got affected dramatically.
Yeah, we'll save that story for another podcast.
But that is important to inform people.
I think so too.
Because I kind of feel like you dealt with it okay, because money value at that time didn't have too much of a hold on you. I mean, even now you don't have a financial responsibility. If tomorrow you have no work, you're not gonna fall off a cliff. But for a lot of other people, there is a cliff if they don't have to pay job, all that kind of stuff. So I think because of that, you dealt with it better than I did, even though it's not my freaking money.
It was my money to lose. No, but it was a really, I was pretty shocked with how I dealt with it as well. I mean, I feel like, yeah, if it had happened earlier in my life, I would have just gone crazy. And also kind of made me realize, money to me, I don't know, my relationship with money is weird.
It would change as you get more responsibility into your life,
Yeah. I think about the amount of money I lost, and I'm like, when I think about it, I cringe to myself and I think, fuck Leonie, why were you so stupid? But yeah.
That's a lot of Wagyu beef we could have eaten. We could have gone for a long, long time with Korean barbecue every single night.
I know.
But, in that discussion, that was probably the last time I remember the most dramatic incident.
For me?
For me.
Oh.
The last time. So you've dealt with it from dealing with pressure, dealing with not be able to control a situation.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a crazy experience, but we'll save that story for another podcast. It's a good one. You guys will just face palm.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of other people who've experienced similar things,
sure.
Especially elderly. But I think what makes a difference is I expected you to know better because you're in the tech world.
I know. This is what happens when love blinds you.
Well, I think it's more like we have a perception of what we think, and that kind of blinds everything else. But anyway.
It taught me a lot of lessons about myself and about the world. And isn't that what life is? Isn't that what every experience is? Something to teach you.
I hope so.
But
so,
anyway.
You're going to be the big 3-0.
I am soon going to be the big 3-0. 30. What have I accomplished in my 20s? So much. I think I'm pretty happy with how my life has kind of panned out. It was kind of messy in my mid-20s, I think. But I think my later 20s, everything kind of fell nicely into place. And I'm really excited for what the rest of my life has to offer. A
word of advice from your brother.
Yes.
Is from 30 to 40 is going to be even faster.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, because you're old now, hey.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
Hey, it's almost your birthday.
Yes. Because 20 to 30, you're allowed to experiment. You're allowed to sort of learn to sort of figure things out. But then once you hit 30 and 40, it's going to snowball real quick. Next thing you know, you're 32, 34, 35, 36. Boom. It's a different level of game.
Yeah.
It depends what you want to get out of your life as well.
Well, I think now it's kind of I have a better idea about what I love to do. So that is helpful, I think, for my 30s.
Well, it also helps to do what you love and get paid for it, so...
Yeah, and I think, I know a lot of people are in a situation where they're stuck in a job that they don't enjoy. For them, it's you kind of have to start all over again. But for me, it's I know what I enjoy. I'm doing it right now. It's not like I'm going to wake up one day and be like, duh, I want to work in IT
Or a waitress
or become like a
on
nurse or
no,
something.
be a waitress on the yacht where Elon Musk swims.
Elon Musk, he's a busy man. He's like having babies everywhere.
He's a movie character.
It's like weird.
Well, didn't you hear that his dad had a
Had a baby with this stepdaughter.
yeah, something like that.
It's like,
Well, I think he's really taking that mission of, populating the human species
yeah, he
to
definitely
heart.
is. He definitely is. And he's having like triplets and twins. Like, what kind of super genetics does he have?
I think a lot of people will speculate he's not human, so he's definitely an alien from the outer planet trying to impregnate
Yeah.
the human population.
So weird. So weird. I don't know. I don't know how he does it. Like, I mean, I guess, do you think when you're that rich, like, you can pretty much just do whatever you want?
100%, because you can get away with way more, and you don't have to worry about how much the petrol costs.
And you can hire people to do
Oh,
things for you.
100%.
Like, oh my God, what I would do to get someone, like, hire someone to edit my podcast.
But the thing is like your direction like your whole thinking changes if you have all that power.
Yeah.
Your morality, your humanity changes a little bit. I'm just glad that he's not he not yet seemed to be like a Dr. Evil character, but some would argue he is. But from the things that he's doing, obviously it has a greater benefit to the humanity and the society.
I mean, some people would argue otherwise.
Yeah, sure, but proof is in the pudding. He's pushing for EV vehicles to be the thing. He's got the solar business.
Yeah.
Advent to renewable, sustainable technology is a good thing. Everybody can look at the negative, but what's the alternative, right?
The Australian federal government released the State of the Environment report recently. And basically, Australia is really shit at looking after the environment. That's the conclusion.
That's it? Did you go into the details?
So the report's released every 5 years. Our previous government was supposed to release the report, but then they postponed it to post-election.
Smart.
And so now the report is out by our current government, and yeah, it's not good. It's like we are the worst continent for mammal extinction rate.
Well, some people they will say, no, it's not our fault. It's the bushfire fault.
Well, that's climate change, right?
No, it's not. It's every 100 years.
And did you know, I didn't know this, but apparently, like, over half of Australia's landmass is used for grazing, for like cows to eat.
Yeah, we love our meat.
Like, why? Oh my gosh, half of Australia used for cows.
Yeah, and I would expect the beef industry would be cheap, but they're still very expensive, which is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. But my mom was blown when I read that statistic.
Like, to get a steak from Woolies now, it's like $20. When was the last time you have steak? Talking of steak, it's making me want to have some steak.
Well, there should be plenty of steak to go around if half the country's being used for cows.
But I like what some farmers are doing. I watched this current affairs show where the farmers are going to sell half a cow directly to the family, so it will bypass supermarkets. Chopping up the pieces. The only problem is you need a massive freezer.
Selling half a cow to families.
Yeah, so like if you have a family and you buy half a cow for I think they're selling for like $2,000. So that's not bad.
Yeah.
Very reasonable. I think that's probably a better economic.
That sounds more economically and sustainable almost.
Oh, 100%.
Because it reminds me of so when I was in Sweden and really invested in the Swedish culture, like a lot of the families would go hunting for moose, and then they would just have a moose in their fridge.
Yeah, and
in their freezer.
I know in America, I think Australia too, but hunters have to pay like a fee, right?
Yeah.
Which then pays the local rangers to look after the environment, make sure that there's enough animals, the ecosystem is healthy, and then they're using that to control animal populations as well.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting.
It is interesting, but I don't think I could ever kill an animal.
Yeah, I think different generation. Like, I grew up seeing our grandparents and, uncles, like killing a duck or a chicken farm.
Yeah.
But having that connection for your food actually makes you appreciate the animals way more
I can imagine
than people who just buying it from the shops.
Yeah, because you're so disconnected from it. You don't see it as an animal anymore.
On another note, you know that James Webb telescope has been damaged?
I don't know what the James Webb telescope is.
What?
This is there is no intelligence in my brain.
So
I'm dumb.
James Webb telescope is a new telescope to stare into our star and galaxy to the beginning of time using infrared light rather than normal light spectrum. So therefore we can pierce through all the clouds and dust. And the way it works is light travels. The longer the distance, the more redder the light frequency gets. So that's why you use infrared. So you can determine the distance of a planet or a galaxy based on the color shift. And in that also can detect what kind of atmosphere it has, whether you have oxygen or et cetera, et cetera. It's pretty friggin' amazing. So it's a $10 billion project. It's a partnership with US and I think Canadian and European Space Agency, blah, 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 blah. Unfortunately, recently it had some micrometeor damages from like rocks.
Right.
Anyway, random stuff. I just kind of know these stuff because, I want to see what happens.
With space travel?
It's not necessarily space travel. I just want to see if they detect another potential planet Earth.
Sometimes when I think about space things, my mind just like...
And then now there's mountains of evidence of UFOs coming out of the US military Pentagon, and people are saying, there is something going on here.
Well, obviously, haven't you seen Elon Musk? He's definitely a UFO.
I have to concur.
But yeah, anyway. So that's been my week. My month. Slowly burning out, trying not to burn out.
Well, maybe all you need is a good Korean barbecue.
True. And you know how hard it has been to keep up with BTS content as well. Ugh.
I know, there's so much content.
There's so much.
I still haven't watched the new episode of Stranger Things, and there's so many things to watch.
But no, I'm really excited. There's still a bit more of the year left to go. I've got some exciting guests lined up. I actually took the initiative. I was like, I need to get more guests on. So I was like, who can I ask?
I think you should reflect on your podcast and really think about what kind of messaging we want to reach out to the people and our audience. Because the more I think about it, it's about, how do we become better people?
Yes.
And every episode should make you feel like stay positive no matter what the circumstances around the world is.
Yeah. And
what can individual do to better themselves and hopefully the world.
Yeah.
I think if you have that theme, then everything plugs in quite well with it.
Well,
like BTS is an example,
Yeah, well, BTS does fit into that theme. And that, I guess, is what I have been trying to go for with this podcast, is how can we better ourselves as people.
And what about the polar bear episode?
What about it? That's coming out.
That was so depressing.
But it was fun as well. I feel like sometimes you have to deal with the grim stuff in life with a bit of humor.
100%. Love humor.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I watch now is comedy specials.
And sometimes, all you can really do is just laugh at it, laugh at the situation.
Do you watch much comedy?
No, I'm actually the most humorless person. I'll watch it if I have to.
Do you go on Netflix special, comedy special, and do you have a specific comedian that you enjoy?
I like Ricky Gervais.
Oh yeah, he's very controversial. Did you like his most recent one?
Which one was the most recent one?
I can't remember, but
yeah, I like the stuff he does. I think a lot of people these days are too sensitive and easily offended. But that's just me. Who else do I like? I don't actually watch that much comedy.
Maybe that's what you need.
To laugh?
Just for a laugh. We need to exercise our smiles.
Ha 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 ha.
As much as we exercise our, physical body, we need to exercise our smile.
We
happiness.
need to, exercise our positivity.
And gratitude.
Gratitude. What are you grateful for, big brother?
right now I'm grateful for fuck.
What?
I'm grateful that I can do what I do and have amazing people to work with and hopefully achieve something out of it. So that's my gratitude
Okay.
for today. That's it. We got to implement that gratitude of every episode.
Okay.
Maybe that's a good,
Yeah,
good
maybe.
take.
At the end of each episode, what are you grateful for today?
Yeah. So it's your turn.
Okay, what am I grateful for? I'm grateful for
Just one.
just one thing.
I think that makes it more special. You know what I mean? Per episode, you just have one gratitude grateful for. And it could be implemented to ask the guests as well.
Yeah. What am I grateful for? I am grateful for my team at work for giving me an opportunity to challenge myself and to grow as an individual in my professional career. That's what I'm grateful for. It's like honestly such a huge challenge, but I think it's a good challenge for me.
Yeah, I think it's definitely taking you out of your own shell.
Recently, my manager has been telling me 30 minutes before a meeting, hey, can you present this to the team? And I'm like, what? All of a sudden? I'm not prepared. I don't have a plan. But that's really forced me to just, do it. If that makes sense.
I think the good thing is the content, but it's how you deliver it. So
yeah, my voice still shakes.
So your delivery just needs to be more experienced. That's it.
Yeah.
As long as you're confident in your craft and what you're creating or doing, it's much easier.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like doing a podcast, when you have to think really fast or I don't know. But yeah, I think pushing me into the deep end like that is giving me more experience and then making me a bit more comfortable. And it's just weird because I know everyone in my team, but I'm still so nervous. I can feel my heart elevate and I can feel my voice shake. And it's it's not like don't know what I'm talking about, but yeah, I don't know. There's always that fear.
So this is the James Webb Telescope.
That looks weird. Looks like that's what's been in the news recently.
Correct.
Oh.
It's made out of gold.
Where is the telescope?
I think 1 million kilometers away from Earth, quite far.
How do they get the telescope to the space?
Wow, rockets.
Oh.
And then it unfolds itself.
Oh. And then how do they get the information back from the telescope to people?
They call up Elon Musk to use the internet. Dial up.
See, these things just blow my mind because obviously I feel I'm pretty simple-minded.
But what I love the memes is the internet's wow, that's a $10 billion wallpaper making machine. If you think about it, right?
True.
It's that's the image he makes. It's quite sad. I feel really sad every time I think about these because we will never see how a billion light years away look like now, if that makes sense. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Do you understand the concept of light years?
Yeah.
So
it's by the time it reaches us, it's already probably dead.
No. So, yeah. Oh, actually, yeah. Potentially. So we're seeing back in history.
Right.
So example, if we decide to reverse the camera and go all the way 1 million light years away from Earth, if you have amazing technology, you could capture how Earth looked 1 million years ago because the light took 1 million years to travel to that telescope. So in that theory, we could technically find out if Jesus was real or the dinosaurs are real. So if you think about light takes time to travel, right? Then light gets to your camera sensor. So what I'm seeing now, so example, if I point my camera towards the Mars, I'm seeing a 20-minute delay of what happens in Mars. So if you walk on Mars, 20 minutes later I'll see you walk on Mars. So that's the delay.
Right.
The light travel to my lens that captures.
Right.
I know it's freaky, mind-blowing. You're what? So if you reverse it and go, well, let me go out 1 million light years away from Earth. And I have some amazing capturing device.
On Earth.
No, on outside of
Outside.
Earth. Yeah.
Taking a photo of Earth.
Correct. And let's say you can zoom in 1 billion times into like fine Santa grain. Just saying hypothetically.
And you can see Jesus being nailed to
Well,
the
you
cross.
could see what happens, 2,000 years ago.
Right.
Or even go back 1,000,000 years to see the dinosaurs. Actual how they look like.
Yeah.
Mind blown.
This is too deep for me. Makes me feel like a speck in this universe.
Well, I think that's where I find comfort.
That you're just a speck?
Yeah, because it just puts a perspective going, we're just a milli tiny seconds of the whole global history of the galaxy and the universe. And we're just like, boop, that's it. So put that into perspective, all the little issues that we face in life should not be that significant.
So are you saying climate change isn't that significant?
I kind of feel like human race is kind of insignificant in the blip of things. And climate change, nature, is going to take over regardless.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
like that's what I've always said. Like nature will always find a way to kind of balance itself out.
Not necessarily balance itself out to where it was. It might change,
Yeah.
and then
Adapt.
it will do whatever it does throughout billions and millions of years in the
Yeah.
galaxy. The sun dies, planet dies,
Mm.
and then you have a black hole. Everything gets sucked into it.
Mm.
Eventually, everything becomes nothing.
All right. Let's not get depressing now.
So on that note,
On that note.
appreciate
I do.
every second that ticks away and enjoy the little things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I'm in a good place right now. Busy, but good. I don't have any ASMR stuff, but I think maybe replacing ASMR with gratitude is a good idea.
I think so too. It's
Cool.
a nice way to end it.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask my listeners, what are you guys grateful for today? It could be anything big or anything small. Appreciate all the little things in life. Thank you for listening to me on this episode of Lounging with Leonie and joining me and Big Brother on the lounge. And I'll catch you guys in the next episode. It's a good one, the next one. Watch it. All right. Bye.
Hang on, you're going to release these first.
Yeah, I'm going to release this before the polar bear one, I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
Bye.
All right. Bye.